Okay, so here we are. You should have gotten x equals 48 for number 1. Let's move on to number 2 now. Taking a look at number 2, we can see that x is on the leg this time. Here's my altitude. Here's the hypotenuse. Since I'm looking for x, that means I'm going to have to use the leg rule. There's nothing about the altitude that's given, so I won't have anything to plug into the altitude rule, so I must use the leg rule. So let's take a look at the leg rule. The leg rule says it's the whole hypotenuse over the leg equals the leg over the projection. And if you remember, the projection is the piece of the hypotenuse right underneath whichever leg it is you're talking about. So if I'm looking at this leg, then it's this part of the hypotenuse. All right, so the whole hypotenuse, that's 25 over the leg, which is x, equals the leg over the projection. So here's x over the projection, and the projection here is 9. All right, so let's cross multiply. X times x is x squared, and then 25 times 9. Now here's a little trick. Since I'm taking the square root, let's come up over here. The square root of 25 times 9, I can separate that into square root of 25 times the square root of 9. Both of those are perfect squares, so you don't even need a calculator for this one. Square root of 25 is 5. The square root of 9 is 3. So my answer is 15. So the leg is 15. Now, if we look back at the last one, we could have done the same thing right here. Both of these are perfect squares. So by multiplying this, well, we're taking the square root of it, I should say. So if you take the square root of 36 times the square root of 64, you would get, let's write it out here, the square root of 36 times the square root of 64. So that's 6 times 8 gives you 48, which is what we got. So that's just another way of doing it, if you have perfect squares. All right, so we've done one of each type of problem. We've done the altitude rule, because we were given the altitude here as x, and here we used the leg rule because x was on the leg. Keep in mind, sometimes they will give you the whole hypotenuse and sometimes they won't. So if we look at some of the other questions, like this one, if we need the whole hypotenuse, you're going to have to add those together depending on which rule you use. All right, so keep that in mind. Sometimes they give you both pieces, sometimes they give you the whole thing and you have to find the missing piece. All right, folks, good luck.